Let's get ready to rumble! Bring the noise!
Hello Bingo fans and welcome back to Jet Set Radio Future Bingo Season 5. It's time to see how the game is played. Race your way through the streets of Tokyo to complete your board objectives, and for every soul, character and graffiti completed, your points will go up. But look out, no one wants to get sniped to a square. Ooh, yikes. If you can collect 5 squares in a row, you'll receive a bingo and an additional 2 points. But if you think it's that easy, you've never seen bingo before. Oh, and one more thing, in this tournament no one gets to take a shortcut. If your character dies, you'll have to go all the way back to the same spot before you can continue. Good luck, it's time to play Jet Set Radio Future Bingo. And what an exciting match it will be. We have the first game of the season with team the Cozy Bunnies featuring Yomsa and Ryomi in the pink corner versus the purple corner featuring Nyarsonists and JSRF. It's team Nyarsonists. I'm not paid enough for this shit. Will the Nyarsonists prove that they've still got claws, or will the Cozy Bunnies rest easy with the first run of the season? We're about to find out with help from the duo that, when asked for 2 structures that hold water, could only respond with, well damn, Nago and Eclapricious.
Hey, it's us. It's bingo time. Welcome back to Jet Set Radio Future Bingo, everybody. For the start of Season 5. Yeah, we made it to Season 5. That's pretty cool. So today we got our first game of the season between the Cozy Bunnies, that's Ryomi and Yomsa, versus the Nyarsonists, Jakey and Nay. And it's me, Ekla, on commentary, and I'm joined by our Season 3 MVP, Nago.
Hello. I'm still here, unfortunately.
You just can't get rid of us.
Indeed. Sis on this island is here to fucking stay.
Absolutely. So yeah, bingo. Pretty much everything, as AceBats explained, is the same as it has been in the past. A return to 2v2. Bingos are now worth less. We're back to co-op. We're just pretty much picking up right where Season 3 ended. And our first game between these two teams, looks like our teams are ready. So let's get a look at the board. Naga, you want to run us through this?
Sure. So, obviously, as you can see by the layout, you can see that this is a board that's quite Kogane stacked, not a lot of Benton stuff. Also relatively light on the graffitis. There's a very valuable center square in the form of Dogen right of street. And then that goes to the column 3 bingo, which is quite nice. Besides the on top of T-Rex stuff, but there's a lot of very like bingos that are concentrated in like one area plus an extra square that are pretty decent. But there's a lot of fast squares, but that Dogen right of street.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Complicated.
Dogen right of street center square is kind of crazy. Because other than that, you know, not a massive amount of quick defaults on this board.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of interesting. I'm not sure if this was mentioned actually in the intro. I don't think it was, but this is gonna be the first season that we're playing on the load equalizer build of JSRF.
Oh yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, the modders cooked up a little nice little custom build of JSRF that forces every load to be a specific amount of time, so that like emulator runners and Xbox runners and people with roaches in their hard drives all get to play, you know, an even game.
Yeah, that's actually a massive improvement for this season. We're getting started. We'll see then where our players are going to go. It looks like a pretty diverse spread here, actually. Double Shibuya is this for the Bunnies?
Yeah, I feel like this is very on brand, like for the Bunnies. Like it's, you know, very aggressive, going for the really quick souls, as opposed to the way that Jakey and Ney are approaching, where they're trying to like be a bit more, maybe not more conservative, but they're trying to go for like the more long-term play and not just get sniped to everything in Shibuya. So we'll see how it works out. But it does mean that the Bunnies get the center square right of street early.
Yeah, but Ney locking in that first square, the RDH air doing so really quickly. That's actually a very, very quick return on investment for that soul. And so Ney gets to go out deeper into Kogane, while Jakey's all the way out in Highway 0 right now. That graffiti is... I mean, it sure is there. I don't know if I'm a massive fan of such an early Highway 0 graffiti, but you know what? Go for it, I guess.
It feels like very like a decision that feels very much in the vein of the other teams Jakey's played on, the one with Jammy and I think the one with Twink, where they like play very anti-bingo. Like it's not really that they're trying to play super aggressively, they're more trying to cover as many bases to avoid getting bingoed on, and then on the long term maybe they can make an aggressive play, but first it's like we just want to try and get points, play solid, and then, you know, we can reassess later what the win condition will be, which is a good strategy, especially against Bunnies that are going to specifically play very aggressive and go for those really quick souls. We'll see how it exactly works out. The Bunnies are playing for Sewers, and yeah, Ryomi kind of doing some stuff in Shuo, which is not... It's a bit... It obfuscates what they're doing for a while, because Sewers takes a while to, with the souls that are for Sewers, it kind of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't figure out that Yalm's in Sewers until they mark it. There's not really any, like, real warning shot, and then suddenly they're in there, and they can go to Kibo and all the other levels, FRZ, and clean up the rest of Kogane.
Yeah, so... You said it right at the beginning that, you know, Benton is really not particularly powerful this game. So I'm curious now to see where Jakey goes from this. The Highway 0 graffiti locked in. That puts it at pretty much you've got the Sky Dino default. And there's actually 2 defaults in Sky Dino, which makes this a relatively quick 5 points in Benton, I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're very much kind of playing your own game. You're not kind of... playing to what your opponents are doing. You're not really establishing all that much in terms of board pressure either. These souls aren't really very, very strong in terms of the position that they are on the board. But it is a quick 5 points, and if this does come down to being a points game, then that could make a difference. As you can see, the Nyarsonists are actually just a little bit ahead on points right now because of that early graffiti. But look at where the squares are for the Bunnies. Like, they're so strong. That center column 3, as well as... I mean, the row 4 I think is not realistic, but then you've still got the bottom left, top right diagonal on the cards. It does feel like the squares that the Bunnies have right now are a little bit stronger strategically.
Yeah, I definitely think I definitely agree in that sense. I think one thing that at least works for Nyarsonists quite well is the fact that because they're going for Highway 0, it means they can go for the Sky Dino stuff that blocks all of those bingos. Because if you don't go Dark Side like Ben 10 early, a lot of weird nonsense can happen where you start racing to Sky Dino, and in this situation you have Highway 0, and then you get to do the get all those squares that block all those bingos.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Jakey just goes to Jazz here, right? And like all of these Benton squares do a very, very good job of preventing all of those bingos.
It's a decent play. I think the problem that Nyarsonists are gonna have to figure out is what they're gonna do once Ryomi cleans up Chuo, because at that point they're gonna get the 3 points from that graffiti, and then it'll basically just be Bunnies are just gonna go straight for, like, they're just gonna start trying to spam bingos basically, and Yamcha's already NFRZ getting Air 8, and they're also gonna get end of first maze, so you're gonna have to get Kibo Special at some point, and you're gonna have to get Jazz unlocked, and those are quite slow souls to get. Though there is the new
now in
Kibo Special
FRZ.
strat.
This could be really rough for Ney, because Yomsa might just get everything that she wants here before Ney even realizes that there's a contest in this area.
Nah, it's Ney's luckily gets to kind of dodge the worst case scenario, since Yamsa went for very top and the first maze first, as opposed to getting Area 8. So it all luckily works out for Ney. Ney gets to leave and go probably Kibo. At least that's the bingo denial angle, but it depends on what Ney wants to do. Actually, Ryomi has left Chuo for now, so there's like an awkward Chuo snipe angle, but it's all a bit... It's definitely on Nyarsonists to somehow like keep this, like bomb of points that can come out like at any point from Bunnies, and try to figure out how to basically defuse it, but we'll see.
Yeah, this is something that we didn't really see last season because of the 1v1 format, but it's very typical of 2v2 to just kind of sit on some points and then cash them in at a later date, because you have 2 players, you have the co-op progress shared, so Ryomi can realistically do most of Chuo, dip out, and then come back to that later. And that's very much typical of 2v2 compared to 1v1.
Yeah, it seems that... So Jakey's going to be cleaning up Jazz. Ney is going to be going towards Chuo, while Ryomi is doing Hikage points. And then I presume Ryomi's going to be going back to Chuo, which would mean that Ney basically has to like start Chuo and like beat Ryomi to it. I think one thing that I am wondering about is if Yomps is even gonna go for Kibo. Kind of depends on what the read is of the situation. If they want to pick it up, or if they want to play a bit more greedy and try to, like do kind of counter stuff. But it seems like Yomps is gonna go Kibo. But the only way to block this bingo is gonna be to get Chuo Graffiti, which is gonna be quite hard since Ryomi, I think, has 30 sprays or something like that.
So Jakey didn't mark Jazz.
Ooh, Jakey, please mark the square, my friend. Please mark the square.
I wasn't watching their screen, so I don't know if they actually did it, but they were in the area, so I assume they did.
I mean, I saw them doing Jazz, so there's no way they must have finished it. Oh, you can make it to the L without a boost dash? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, that's something that Nate, I think, was testing, and it's like a really, really, really difficult jump. Like it's like a 2-frame or 3-frame jump or
Oh,
something.
I need to
It's
learn
pretty
that
slow.
for rando. I need to learn for rando. I need that in my life.
But yeah, this is interesting now because Ney is in Chuo, and Ryomi's actually back in Chuo, finishing this off now.
Ooh, they're co-oping
Um,
it.
But yeah, it's going to be a co-op Chuo here.
This is a really aggressive strat. I know that Ryomi, like looking at Ryomi's feed, Ryomi isn't doing like a super optimal route, but I believe that Ryomi just has the stuff in the, like I don't know, the road, the same, it's basically like needs to do everything that Ney is doing, while Jakey has to just clean up like the whole center area.
This could swing the game here for the Nyarsonists if they can pull this off.
Yes, it's very close. It could definitely happen, but it depends on what sprays Ryomi still has to do, and it depends on the execution of Nyarsonists, but they are definitely in a good position for this. Because it's just a couple smalls and just a couple big sprays, but it's not like a lot left. How many sprays does Ryomi? Oh yeah, they're gonna beat Ryomi to this.
This is a really, really smart play here from the Nyarsonists to get the double graffiti. Suddenly that puts them in a very, very comfortable position to win this game.
Yeah, it's a very aggressive play, but it's definitely something like, it's the only play you can really make. Like, you need to block this bingo, because if this bingo gets hit, you basically lose by default. So now it's basically, they need to figure out which sprays they still have left. If that's small, they have 2 more. I guess it's one of the ones, yeah, it's the one here, and then maybe the one on the
Ryomi
stairs.
just has 1 more to go though with the XL after this.
Where's the last one? Where's the last spray? Where's the last spray?
It's going
Oh,
down
it's
to
the
the
XL.
wire.
Oh,
here.
it's the XL. It's the XL here. No, it isn't.
And it's locked in by Ryomi. Unfortunately, his stream froze at the time, but he does finish off the graffiti in Chuo Street. 1 spray difference, and it may have just been this medium here that Ney missed on the way through that made the difference.
Oh,
Jakey
that's
wasn't
so
able to clean that
unfortunate.
one up in time, and so it goes over to the Bunnies, which, I mean, pretty much that graffiti was the game-winning play for both teams here. The game's not over yet, but it has to be now Nyarsonists picking up pretty much everything on the board to win it.
Yeah, they need to get all 6 of them, and Yamsa's already in Kibo, on the way to grind 20. Has marked it, and
That's
this
it. That's
is
the game
GG.
decided.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's on-
that was
that's on-
incredibly close for a game 1.
it's a very good play. I think it's just unfortunate. It's what happens when you're in the chaos of co-op. You sometimes just need to like quickly invent a way to like divide up a level, and sometimes your brain is just a bit preoccupied, or like you mess something up, and then that can come in to bite you later. Especially when you don't remember which spray you missed. It's very unfortunate. But I think it was a very good play from Nyarsonists to like see what, like, as Ace would always say, recognizing the win condition,
Yeah.
and then being like, well, we're just gonna spam this because there aren't any other bingos left on the board.
Yeah.
So well played, but
harp
congratulations to the
on-
Bunnies.
Too much about like player tendencies, right? But we do know that Jakey has an amazing like strategic brain. So I think for the Nyarsonists, just kicking off this game with Jakey immediately identifying the power of the Benton squares, which I immediately kind of scoffed at. I was like, there's only 7 points. Highway 0 is a bit of a commitment, but the strength of all of those Benton squares in denying bingos was really, really strong. Jakey identifying that and then dealing with them immediately, and then letting Ney just go and take points elsewhere on the board, set them up for a really, really strong mid game. But that Churro graffiti going down to 1 spray, 1 little execution error there made the difference. But it's best of 3, so things could still happen.
Yeah, I think it was. I think that's a really well played game from both teams. Definitely a good job from Nyarsonists to like recognize how to play around the fact that like Bunnies both went Shibuya early, because that those are such fast squares that it can sometimes be a bit overwhelming when like all those squares get marked. And when you
Yeah.
lose center square, it's like, oh, there's so many things that are happening. What do I do? What do I block? And doing it in a way that, it comes down to basically one spray is very good routing, and it shows, that it's a really close game, and these two teams are very evenly matched, and we'll see how it'll go in game 2.
Yeah, and again, I mean, once more, not to harp on about player tendencies too much, but Yomsa and Ryomi, right? The double Shibuya start just completely tracks for them.
It's extremely on brand.
Yeah, like the Shibuya squares are very, very fast, just typically, and they are very frequently the ones you see right off the bat. And even with load equalizer now in the game, meaning there's less difference between hardware, it's still very much an execution thing, right? When it comes down to getting these squares right off the bat, and who are you going to trust to grab those squares more than the world record holder, and then Ryomi as well, who has been playing this game an absolute ton in the last couple of weeks. Like their execution on these kinds of things is going to be really, really, really clean. But yeah, I think it was a really good read from Nyarsonists to kind of know their opponents and know their win conditions, and really take a more holistic approach to the board. Speaking of boards, board number 2.
Yeah. This is already a slightly more graffiti intensive board. We have Sewers and RDH Graffiti on this board, which means 2 fast ones, and then Sky Dino as the relatively shorter ones. Slightly like high execution, but like still quite fast. The Sky Dino square is kind of in a weird spot. Or in a weird spot because it creates a really weird bingo in the form of column 1, which is 3 Sky Dino squares, Shibuya Air 3, and Sewers Entrance.
And then there's the row 2 as well, with Sky Dino, 2 defaults in SDPP.
Yeah.
But then Highway Zero Special is a bit of a long one, and then Kage Special, but I mean, it's co-op, right? So.
Yeah.
But then Shibuya, very, very strong in the early game again. You got top of bus, you got right of street, past statue. Hey, 13 platforms. Of course, that would show up. But yeah, Shibuya Air 3. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you can get right at the very beginning of the match here that could kind of shape up what the teams want to do elsewhere on the map. I think, as is tradition for Bingo, I think early Shibuya squares are probably going to determine kind of the approach from then on in this game. But we did see game 1. Nyarsonists just said we're not going to opt into it. We're not gonna play the Shibuya game. So we'll see what they do this time around as we get started.
One odd thing about this board is that it has
Jakey's
10...
going for Jakey Soul.
it has 10 Ben 10 squares, but the 10 Ben 10 squares are all not in 99th. They're all deeper than that, which is kind of awkward because it means that like there are 10 squares that are very high committal, and on the other hand you have the Shibuya Souls, which are all quite fast. As we can see, Ryomi gets top of bus, Jakey gets Jakey Soul. Both on very on-brand decisions, and then Yomsa and Ney are both going RDH, presumably to get the center square. Ney missing the little
going
movement
for the
thing.
jump.
Ooh, Yomsa didn't even go for it. Ooh, but Yomsa overshoots the pole. Oh, but Yomsa does mark it first. Bit of a stream delay there. But still, the movement snafu on Ney's side was definitely the one that was a bit more costly.
I respect the... Oh, okay, going all the way back down again. I respect going for the quick climb there, but certainly it's very punishing if you miss that one.
A very awkward thing to miss. It's also just kind of a weird... It's also just generally kind of a weird jump to do when you're doing it fast, because it's like you have to boost, dash, and jump immediately. So it can feel... It's a movement that you don't really do a lot in this game, so it can feel a bit weird if you haven't done it in a while. Let's see how the rest of the board is shaping up. So, Yomsa also getting Sewers Entrance means that the bottom left, top right diagonal is potentially in play. Bunnies do have the Shibuya tape, so special could be done.
Jakey's going to be the first one out to dark side here, though, which means easy entrance pillar denies that diagonal.
Yeah, so we'll see how that exactly works out. It's definitely, Nyarsonists are definitely a bit behind the facts, as they say. They're getting sniped to basically, or to both the Kogane, quick Kogane souls, definitely makes everything quite awkward. Ney seems to be going to Shibuya Cho. I'm curious where exactly to. While the race to entrance pillar has been... Oh, this looks so weird. I don't like this custom skybox that Ryomi's using. That really throws me off.
Ryomi just barely. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was going into garage. I was like, why is it so bright all of a sudden? But that is just this custom skybox. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's Snipe Central right now for the Bunnies.
Yes.
Interestingly, because Yomsa and Jakey traded 2 for 2 in Shibuya, and Jakey actually got out the dark side, I think, ahead of Ryomi, so I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just barely missing out on that. Jakey's going to go into Sky Dino, Ryomi's here as well, so it looks like it's just going to be one of those games, I think. It's just going to come down to whoever is executing that little bit cleaner.
The approaches are
Everyone's
different,
contesting
though.
everything.
Because Jakey's going for the souls. Wait.
We got 13 platforms race as well.
Okay, yeah, Jakey is going. Jakey's going for the souls. And Ryomi's gonna go for the graffiti, which makes sense. If you're Bunnies, you're like, well, we're gonna get Shibuya special, and we're gonna get the bingo, which they did. Yomsa successfully not getting owned while trying to do 13 platforms, giving them that diagonal bingo. And then like in this position, getting the graffiti is just like, safer because it gives you the points. Because once you have a bingo, you just want to get as many points after that. You just want to farm points. You don't really have to worry about double bingos unless there's like, it's just, so like guaranteed. You don't really want to risk it at that point. Ney is standing still.
They're calling GGs already. This was kind of typical of season 3 from yourself and Yomsa when you played and rushed these early bingos and just completely devastated the morale of the enemy team. The game's not decided, but it would be a massive comeback that would be needed for the Nyarsonists after losing that diagonal bingo. No bingos available for them on the board. It would be down to graffiti, which, as you rightly called, Ryomi went for that graffiti, making sure that there's really no avenue back into the game for the Nyarsonists if they lose that Sky Dino graffiti. So it was a very, very aggressive strategy from the Bunnies, and it paid off just in those snipes, and sometimes that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, a very quick and clean game from the Bunnies, immediately just going straight for the kill.
God, I dislike this daytime Sky Dino so much. It's so bad. It's like, it makes it look like JSRF MP, and I don't like it, and I want it to stop insulting
for me,
my eyeballs.
It's just like, at a quick glance when I'm looking at one of 4 screens, I want to see the color palette and just know where someone is on the map at a glance, and that's throwing me off.
I just need something else in my life. I don't want to look at this. Yeah, so I guess since the match is over, congratulations to the Cozy Bunnies going up 2-0, winning their first fixture of Season 5 in very dominant fashion. I wonder if they want to do interviews, or if we want to do an interview. I don't know if that's the thing we're interested in.
I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see if anyone wants to talk.
Yes. Let's see what's going on.
But yeah, I mean, game 1 was so close, and it really just came down to that Chuo graffiti making the difference. And then game 2 was just the Bunnies being just a couple of seconds faster to the first few souls and sniping out that bingo, and it was decided there and then pretty much. But yeah, very, very clean read from the Bunnies to go for that diagonal bingo, and then immediately to have Ryomi on the Sky Dino graffiti to make sure that there really realistically was no way back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an unfortunate board, It's an unfortunate board. It's a diagonal. It's kind of a diagonal in a way that if you get if you get sniped to platform above cops, then you probably are going to get, or you're probably going to get sniped to sewers entrance as well. So it's like that, and then obviously Jakey went for Jakey soul as opposed to the other soul, and then entrance pillar snipe. It's an unfortunate course of events.
Yeah, I kind of want to hone in on that Shibuya trade between Yomsa and Jakey, because Jakey goes for the two slower, it feels, souls, the Dogen souls. You go right of street into past statue, and then you can move into Shibuya and out again. But in that time, I think you can get top of bus, you can get air 3 in relatively the same amount of time, but also they feel slightly stronger strategically. Because like you look at right of street, right? That's not in a particularly interesting position on the board compared to top of bus being on the diagonal, compared to air 3 as well being in a pretty strong strategic place. Past statue is a pretty strong soul strategically, but it feels kind of bad to just go straight for it and not bother picking up right of street, right? So
yeah.
it's an awkward position to be in there if you're not going to contest someone in Shibuya and you're going to go for the Dogen souls. It does feel like maybe it's second best in some ways, but then you can say maybe you can get back out elsewhere on the map in around the same amount of time and keep the game going. But then just the fact that it was a 2v2 game and that Ryomi was right where he needed to be to snipe entrance pillar as well away from Jakey.
Yeah.
It was just... I mean, you can call it unfortunate, you can call it a really good read by the Bunnies. You know, there were a couple of execution errors here and there for the Nyarsonists that may have made a difference. Jakey did get hit by like 3 cars going down Dogen, which again, it's just these tiny things that may have just made the difference in this game, may have closed it out as quickly as we saw.
Well, we have our good friend Ryomi here for a little interview. What's up, Ryomi?
Howdy.
How are you doing? How are you feeling about the match?
It was alright. I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen in the second game when Nate didn't mark anything for the entire game. Nate gone, Sedge.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, so I mean, we talked a bit about kind of how Game 2 ended up being the way it was, but I want your thoughts on Game 1, because that was a really close game from start to finish.
Yeah. Yamza actually thought we were gonna lose that first game.
It came down to one spray and chewer.
Yeah. I didn't know if I wanted to like spray it fully when I was grabbing the 3 souls in there. But I was like, since I'm going through, I might as well just grab it anyways. Or spray it anyways, so.
Yeah,
Worked
that's
out.
definitely worth. I think it's worth doing since you're there for so much time. But then we kind of identified the fact that you didn't finish it immediately. You went out to Hikage instead, and that was something we had to kind of readjust to, because it's something we didn't see last season in the 1v1. But that's something you can absolutely do with co-op 2v2, right? Is you don't have to complete that whole graffiti route, and you went out to Hikage and you picked up some more points and you helped contribute towards that bingo as well. The early game strategy from Nyarsonists I thought was really good in game 1. Jakey kind of identified that all of the souls, like all the squares on the board in Benton, were very good at kind of blocking your bingo attempts. So we saw the Benton on the board and we thought it's probably not going to be that strong. Like Highway 0 feels like a bit of a bait. What did you think about that? What do you think about Benton on that board?
I was actually surprised. I didn't think that they would go for Highway 0 that early, at least. I don't think that it was worth it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with a Highway 0 on the board, you kind of either have to go for it straight away or it just kind of gets left, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that it was that, and then I think it was Sky Dino, which was pretty strong at like blocking bingos as well as picking up a relatively quick 5 points, you know, with 2 souls and the graffiti. I think it was 6 in the end with Jazz. I thought it was actually a surprisingly good play, and I think that game really did just come down to, I think Nay missed a spray in Chuo.
Yeah, Chuo.
And I'm pretty sure that's what decided the game. But it was a really closely contested first game, and then we really did get the full 2v2 experience of a really close first game and then a complete blowout in the second game. So yeah, thanks for the perfect showcase of what 2v2 bingo is like.
Yeah. I was gonna finish Chuo the first time I went in, but then I saw that they I think they were trying to set up column 4. So I was like, I'm already here. Might as well just grab Hikage Grind 20. Go back to Chuo. So it worked out.
It did. So congrats on the win, the 2-0. And
Let's go.
yeah, we will see you again next week, hopefully, for your
In
match
2 days.
against... yeah, well, actually, Ryoma, you're going to be joining us on commentary for the next match, which is going to be cool.
Let's go.
And that will be between High Voltage Electric Line Pylon, which is Krabby and Nago, versus the Fantastic Free, which is Sylvie and Ace. And that will be on Sunday
Yes.
at the same time?
Yes.
Yes. Sunday, same time.
First tri-continental JSRF bingo match.
Yeah.
What a
Australia
name.
represent.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then
Sylvie.
we'll be seeing you again, playing again next week, and that will be the Bunnies versus High Voltage Electric Line Pylon, or Help for sure, which I'm very excited for. That's going to be a really, really cool match.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweaty.
Forgot that the abbreviation for our team was HELP. Forgot about that. That's very good. I think that's it. I don't think.
Yeah,
there's
I think
anything
that's
else
it
to
for
say.
us. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you again on Sunday, same time, 5 p.m. Eastern, I think, 10 p.m. British.
Yes.
And before we head out, before we head out, we do have the first match of the season 2, I suppose, of Jet Set Radio Future, Pinball Warrior. So take it away, Ace Bats, I suppose.